There's some big intriguing things happening for Seth versus Drew. We'll also check out what's new for Maxxine Dupri, Damian Priest, and more. Starting things off with Maxxine Dupri because this is an interesting route that WWE appears to be taking things in with her. So we covered the full story a few weeks back, but just to give it a better understanding of what's happening here, we'll recap. A video from a live event went extremely viral. The content of this viral live event video was Maxxine Dupri, an innocent babyface character, walking up the entrance stage while getting booed out of the building from the fans in the arena. This sparked a massive debate and conversation amongst the fans. Some fans were saying that the fans bought a ticket, they can cheer or boo for whoever they want throughout the entirety of the show in any fashion they want. While other fans said, no, what those fans did in that clip was wrong and borderline disgusting. Then we saw Rhea Ripley, Zelina Vega, and all these others come out to Maxxine's defense, saying that they wish those same fans would have to experience the same thing Maxxine was going through, of being publicly shamed for not being perfect at a job that they're brand new to. It was a heated conversation, but for the most part, the majority of fans understood and were sending love and support Maxxine Dupri's way. WWE created a lot of stars from scratch with no prior independent scene experience. Just look at Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and Tiffany Stratton, all as recent examples of WWE's Performance Center success. But the only difference between all those women and Maxxine is that they all had a lot of time to train and practice to get some serious reps in. All these women spent time in the Performance Center, and they all had lengthy runs in NXT to really learn the ropes of the company, and that's what helped to prepare them and lead to success. The thing with Maxxine Dupri's usage is that WWE threw her right into the fire. Her Performance Center and NXT runs were cut extremely short after WWE called her up to the main roster to be with the Maximum Male models almost instantly. So she didn't even get close to the amount of time that those other women got in the development program. Maxxine Dupri even had her first ever match on live television on Monday Night Raw. So it's a tough situation to be in because she's literally learning everything on the road with the main roster in front of these judgmental crowds. Maxxine has taken a part in lots of interviews recently and said that she wouldn't have it any other way. She enjoys being thrown to the wolves and thinks it's a great way to be forced to learn everything as quickly as possible. Maxxine was even questioned about some of that booing towards her and said that she's committed and won't stop training to be the best. Maxxine Dupri even said that she's committed to WWE for the extreme long haul. She claims to love her job right now, and she would love to stay with the company for as long as they would like to employ her. So taking all of that into consideration and all the context of some fans booing Maxxine for not being perfect in the ring, it looks like WWE has taken all the actual real-life situations and is now rolling it into a WWE television storyline. This big storyline for Maxxine kicked off on the March 11th edition of Raw with a match that really wasn't a match and was used more like a segment to kick off this new story. Maxxine Dupri quickly tags into the match and tries to get the crowd hyped up. She starts to go for the worm, but Candice LeRae stands in her way and delivers some dark and heavy words to Maxxine. Candice says that people are booing Maxxine because she doesn't belong here in WWE. Candice takes more blows at Maxxine at the deepest and darkest personal level, even bringing up Maxxine's brother, who tragically passed away several years ago, saying that he would be ashamed of what Maxxine has become. So it's extremely dark and deep, but that appears to be the new storyline for Maxxine Dupri's character. WWE is taking the real-life situation and viral moment of Maxxine Dupri getting booed and capitalizing on it, morphing it into an actual storyline. It's great for Candice LeRae too, because ever since Candice returned, the main thing she was lacking was some proper character and personality to her television appearance. So it was nice to see that fiery emotion get portrayed from her character, and hopefully she continues to take her character up from here. And for Maxxine Dupri, It looks like the goal here with this storyline would be to really paint Maxxine out to be a very sympathetic babyface character. Due to this new WWE storyline, fans are now just learning about the real tragic events from Maxxine's personal life that they previously didn't know about. So maybe it does touch those fans that were on the fence about Maxxine Dupri in an emotional way, and gets them to be more patient and invested in her. Maybe someone who tragically lost a sibling can relate to Maxxine. It seems to be safe to assume that for where this story could go to next is a singles match between Maxxine Dupri and Candice LeRae, which could get the crowd even more behind Maxxine, considering the type of things we just heard Candice say to Maxxine. So that'll be a small storyline to keep an eye on in the coming weeks. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre had another heated exchange this week on Raw that did have some fans wondering many different things. Now obviously, this feud isn't on the top of the build-up to WrestleMania 40, because everything with the bloodline, Cody and Seth, is getting all the attention, buzz, and coverage. But it's still having a lot of solid build-up between two top stars in the company. Seth called out Drew McIntyre for being a hypocrite and needing the bloodline's help during all of his recent big wins, like his win over Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Drew McIntyre is also fighting someone else for when it comes to this feud, and that's fighting back the urge to attack Seth Rollins, because he thinks it may compromise his WrestleMania title match. Seth has a bad back, a bad knee, and bad almost everything. He's really beaten up, especially after a near year as champion. But Drew knows that if he attacks Seth in any way, and Seth can't compete at WrestleMania, well then, there goes his big WrestleMania world title opportunity. So Seth can get away with saying anything he wants right now, and Drew McIntyre won't lay a finger on him because of that reason. And Seth uses that fact to his advantage by playing mind games and saying a lot of burning things to Drew McIntyre. Seth even said that Drew McIntyre is the least of his worries right now. Seth named The Rock, Roman Reigns, his bad back, and his bad knee as bigger threats to him now than Drew McIntyre. But something that Seth didn't mention that should be on the list of his worries, though, is the Money in the Bank contract that belongs to Damian Priest. That's something that's been hidden behind Drew versus Seth, and obviously hidden behind The Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody. There's so much going on there involving these big names and big world titles. But we can't forget that Damian Priest very much still has a contract that grants him a match with either world champion at any time or place of his choosing. So even though Seth didn't mention him, Damian Priest should be right up there with Rock and Roman as one of his biggest threats at the current moment in time. And obviously, Damian Priest has his hands full with the current six-pack ladder match at WrestleMania for the tag team titles, so he's quite busy. But just keep an eye on that situation, because the more they ignore the fact that Damian has the contract, then there's probably a high chance that Damian Priest cashes in sometime during WrestleMania weekend. Especially if things go wrong and they lose the tag team titles, that should be another big sign that a cash-in is close. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.